Now then, people, happy lunchtime. I said it yesterday. I thought, you know what, let's have a play around today and see how many people are either going to log on while they're at work or during their lunchtime. Anyway, give me a chance to test out the connection and everything here as well. So not expecting there to be a million people. So although it is obviously on the channel for afterwards. But I think one little topic worth a quick discussion, because I've seen it playing out in our Telegram group, is fluke treatments, and especially Costia as a secondary problem with fluke treatments, because this is massive. And I don't know if it's something people are particularly aware of or what's going on with that stuff. But I think understanding Costia a little bit more will help you make a little bit of sense. Now, I think, fluke treatments might be perceived as being not as particularly aggressive as, say, the likes of potassium or something formalin based and stuff along them lines, which in all reality, they're probably not. But Costia is an opportunistic parasite. Whenever there's a chance, boom, it'll be in there. That's what you'll find, obviously, when when a fish becomes ill, it takes a dip in its immune system, whatever it is, bang, opportunistic, it's in there, and you're dealing with it. And obviously, with it being free swimming, there's always a chance it's going to be spreading to something else on there as well, which you've really got to bear in mind. But in the case of fluke treatments, I think what it's worth bearing in mind is fluke treatments in themselves are quite aggressive, especially as we're moving up to these kind of pro level things. There's some pretty strong treatments in there. I'm just thinking how harsh that light is behind me. Might have to work on this a bit for moving forward. But yeah, they are, relatively strong. And it's still a treatment. And I've said it before, treatments are a stress in themselves. That's why I don't like using throwing treatment at fish without cause, because you can actually do more harm than good at the end of it. So in the case of fluke treatments, you've got two things going on. The treatment itself can be stressful. Now, depending on how fit the fish are beforehand, can play a part in this. So if the fish are already, the flukes are, well set in, been wearing the fish down a little bit, then you're more than likely going to get a different response afterwards, because obviously the parasite's already ground the fish down a little bit. So the thing is, there you hit them with the treatment. The treatment itself is a stress, so the fish take a bit of a dip from that. But then what happens afterwards is, plenty of people tuning in seemingly, what happens afterwards is you actually, and this can happen with bacteria, I've spoke about this with bacteria, being opportunistic, it could be that the fluke has actually been the prominent parasite there. I know we can often see them together. You can get flukes, Costia, all the thing, but I'm on about when it directly comes afterwards. It can be that the flukes, you clear the flukes off, and interestingly enough, all of a sudden the food source, being the fish, the mucus, the slime coat, the food source becomes available. And Costia being opportunistic, boom, it's in there, it appears. And that's on top of obviously the fish being, a little bit weakened from that treatment, a little bit stressed out from that treatment as well. And you've got it. And that is literally what can happen with it. It's a lot more normal than you think. I have seen it with certain treatments, and that probably makes more sense, because depending on the strength of the treatment and what it potentially does, could answer as to why it can be more common. Lernex being one. I had a lot of spats of, although I like Lernex as a fluke treatment, Costia coming afterwards from it, and there is a different concoction of ingredients in Lernex. I think there's three different ones altogether. So yeah, it is real. It can happen. Also, I keep seeing it mentioned about flukes and the cycles. Let's not forget, right? Skin flukes. I can't remember the exact name, but they give birth to live young. So there's the only cycle there is it giving birth and you're getting the new one. There's no eggs involved. Eggs only come with gill fluke. and the cycles and everything around that depend heavily on water temperature and whatnot. But you don't want to leave too much in a gap in between when you are treating for gill flukes. But with skin flukes, if they've gone, they've gone. I think the reoccurrence of them needs to come from the fact, basically, that they're in the environment, they're hiding. It's just there's too much going on with the fucking things in truth, and it's mighty complex, and there's never complete eradication. And I think I've mentioned this, or have I don't know if I've just mentioned it or had the thought, but generally there's not complete eradication. We're not scraping every fish. We're not scraping every inch of every fish. And this is what happens. And fluke treatments aren't actually designed for complete eradication. It tends to be more when you're knocking back all the time. So, yeah, and then environmental plays a massive part into how quickly they come forward. So with that reoccurring stuff, I do think it's important to start adjusting expectations and just look at the environment itself a little bit more and see what's going on with all that stuff. So yeah, anyway, let's see who's here and tell me, guys, if what we think. Is lunchtime a good time? Obviously, I'm here. I've just been sorting some fish out. Actually, I've been in the Kibby, Goshki, Sankey pond, actually the condo, getting them out ready for us doing the selection event and then getting them ready to ship. We've got the higher end condo bits we sold, which we're going to get updates on because I've whipped them out now. And a few Dainichi bits tucked up, Dainichi Toyota pieces stashed away in that pond as well. But yeah, what do we think to lunchtime? Who's here then? Let's have a look. In all honesty, I don't know too much what to do. There's always seems to be plenty of questions, and it might just give those that maybe miss out on the evening's chance. I will Andy straight away. Breeder wise for Platinum Ogans, yes, very good question. I think based on what I've seen, you see, Chogoro is your renowned world #1. There's no disputing Chogoro. My issue there is his biosecurity, and going to keep seeing that fly doing rounds. That's driving me crazy. Obviously, I'm up at HQ today in the office. Yeah, Chogoro is really your boy, but like I say, I question his biosecurity. The KHV he's had 3 times, I think now. It's never been like a mass wipeout, but it's been detected in testing, and obviously they've had to take and follow the procedures that they do. And on that basis, I won't buy them because I'm not, my biosecurity, I've said it before, starts in Japan. And knowing that, and him clearly not fully understanding why it keeps happening, I'm not prepared to risk my stock here, and there's a lot of it, and my reputation on somebody like that. So that to me writes him up. There are dealers that do, and if you feel like it's for you, then great. Yes, Chogoro are fantastic. The ones I had recently, I had them last year, are from Nagoshi, and I was very, very impressed with what I've seen. There was quite a lot of good ratio mix of normal Parachina to Ginrin Parachina, which is cool. And the growth was fantastic. I love the body because they can be a bit tricky with the body. Overall, they were really quite powerful as far as Parachina goes. So I actually acquired those from Okawa, but Okawa gets the fry from Nagoshi. So that the basis of it all is at Nagoshi. Not looked for them this year. Don't know if they've been there, but in all honesty, if I was going shopping for them, that would be where I would go first off straight away. Yes, so they're not hard to find, hard to keep. Yes, I think maybe the trick you might want to look for, Kev, is maybe buying them a little bit lighter in the colour, because that's just made me laugh. It's just so natural in it. I come on alive. Let's start firing some questions in. I love that. I think it's pretty much decided what we'll do with the streams. I will say I'll probably end up going a bit more topical on a few as we do it. Like I said, I've seen that about the fluke, so it might just tie into some other stuff I want for the channel overall. But yeah, love it, guys. I don't mind firing in on them questions. Yeah, I've had 2 both developed. So yes, probably buying them lighter just assess. Obviously, you can sort of see them. They're like a red shimmy. You can kind of see them there when they're younger. When I'm doing selection, you can see it. So if you can see patches of it, you might want to avoid it. But then likewise, buying them lighter, if you buy it too yellow, too young, there's a chance that color is going to over darken anyway, but then more chance that you're going to get those sort of red shimmies, red patches come up. Gary, sorry, which treatment safe for all fish? Yeah, I've no idea, Jason. I've not had a look at Fluke X yet, pal. To be honest with you, I have potassium as being my go-to. I've used very little Fluke treatment. The kind of regime I'm using with potassium, and I think I mentioned it last night, I have decided I'm going to sit down and do a video on this in depth with a bit more information, a lot of disclaimers and a bit more information, just to see what, hopefully enlighten people a little bit more, because for me, when used properly, it's one of the best treatments in your arsenal. It's one of the cheapest as well, and there's so many added benefits to the whole system around it as well. So yeah, there we go, Mark's prize. I got some more fish selecting to be on with when I get out of here. Actually, orders, requests from, I posted a rather nice Dietary koaku the other day on the Koi online group, and it's whet a few appetites, although unfortunately I don't have any more like that one, but I do have plenty more nice fish. There we go, Ray. Emir to the rescue. Brilliant. Tom NMD Morley. I love that, pal. Love that. Brilliant. There you go. I thought that might be handy on there at a lunchtime. Foggy, fluke treatment on filter bacteria, not normally, because there's not particularly anything as with an oxidative nature to it, so shouldn't be a massive problem in regards to biological filtration with fluke treatments. I think it just catches people out of this, you know, kind of secondary cost hereafter, and I just thought it'd be good to actually explain why that happens generally and what's going off with it. I didn't know that. It did just lag a minute ago, but it shouldn't have stopped. Happy days. There we go. Lunchtime does seem like a good one. Could make that a little bit. Hey, cook along lunch with Rick. Koi questions and food. Probably won't mind that, to be fair. Although I'm not good at multitasking, so something would go wrong, that is for sure. Have I considered having a stall at one of the shows? Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, I haven't actually. That's an absolute fucking lie. I've no interest in anything to do with the society. I think that's long been known, just years and years of bullshit, and I don't believe what it stands for. In regards to shows, I think you might find even the turnout on what we did last weekend and all the constant events and community. I want to build something that's in the vision of what I think it should be like, a lack of toxicity, comfortable and enjoyable for all. And I think luckily, because of the amazing community around me and the amount of people, we are successfully able to pull that off independently as well. So yeah, from a sales perspective, we just don't need it. Would be a shitload of work as well for you know, no real upside when we're doing it all anyway. What's the optimal temperature for koi? Absolute optimals 24, 25. You get their immune system absolutely firing at its best. So just from that basis, you know, there every degree below it, you're moving away from optimal. It's just not very easy to achieve in the UK for a prolonged period of time without artificial heating. Have you ever thought about a show type event? People, yes, we play around with all kinds of ideas all the time. Honestly, if you was privy to the amount of conversations we have about different things, but obviously nothing's ever as straightforward as it seems. So I would say watch this space. Our big issue at the minute with everything is a lack of people. We are actively trying to recruit as much as possible, but there's just a serious lack of people within the team, and we're just about, obviously with the retail stuff that we launched, keeping on top of everything that comes in. So I'm very conscious of that and not wanting to overstretch. And as much as, yes, we could pull it off, I need to make sure anything that I do is done to the right standard. And again, it just comes down to personnel, even not necessarily on the execution, because I'm confident I could get the help over a weekend. It's all the stuff that comes before it to pull it off right. So yes, Tom, crazy stuff. The next stuff, big stuff you're going to see is what we've done and been working on for some time for online now. And I think, honestly, I think you're going to absolutely love what we've put together, how it's going to work, how seamless it's going to be, and how much more time you're going to get to spend with me and possibly others in the team through the live streams as well. So there we go. You mentioned last night that you would drop a video on PP. That would be great. Absolutely not, Foggy. As with all the other ones, let's wait and see, mate. Let's wait and see. Will there be updates from the corn being grown? Yes, Luke. Bits and bobs, mate. I tend to do it as I'm going round, and I think, oh shit, I hadn't done an update on them for a while. So stay tuned, pal. Stay tuned. Preparing to show your koi. One of the biggest bits is getting the starvation right, because you don't want them dropping a shitload of shit in the bag, in the vat, all the rest of it. So I think absolute prep, you want realistically about 7 days, but you need to try and keep them away from algae as well. Hey, I'm going to get them here. Look, that's healthy, nutritious team lunch there. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's treated me to a McFlurry. Supposed to be on a diet, Col. Oh, wow. Body's a temple and all that shit, pal. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing. So what you want to and you run up to it, you want to look at overfeeding first of all, because that starvation, especially if you get the water too warm, so you've got to balance temperature with that period, because that stop feeding, if it's too warm, you'll quickly shed off that kind of show percentage, that extra 10% that could be the difference in you winning or not. So yeah, bear it in mind. But that's the biggest bit, because the travel, the journey, the everything. If they've got too much food in the gut, and that can even be algae, you're going to tank water, lose condition. It could even just result in you losing that bit of shine off of them as well, which will make a massive difference. Glad to hear it, pal. What I'm here for. Oh, there we go. Fluke X koi only. Yeah, drops is a really, really tough one when it strikes. One of the best I've seen can be getting it in really warm water. With that, antibiotics is normally going to be your best route, and it's not easy to get hold of them for it as well. But salt as well, stronger salt, 0.6%, which is 1 ounce per gallon. Water, 25 degrees, well aerated, just that fish, and absolutely no food. That's a really important part as well. Ian, hi. I've just started a pond, got 4 koi in there. My pH is 8.5, KH is 13. They seem to be happy. Would you advise to lower them? No, I wouldn't, because they can live at that range. It's likely, from what I'm seeing with the KH there, it's all linked and just in line with your water. If it's stable, Ian, you don't want to go messing around with it, mate, because that's going to be the worst thing that you can do. If you're 8.5 and stable, keep it 8.5 and stable, and enjoy your pond, pal. But a bad costia infestation. Tried Alprex 2 times and formalin and malachite. I only managed to reduce the numbers. Yeah, something doesn't sound right there. Yes, I have, but the kind of length, strength you want to be using at. if you've not done it with Alparex and then formalin and malachite, Joseph, there's something really, really wrong there, pal. Have you got a host fish possibly that's causing you issues? That might be something that's real. If you get fish that get really, really beat down and cold, really sick, they can just keep reoccurring with it. You know, are you finding it off multiple scrapes, or is it just particular fish you keep going to? Because it might actually be the fish that's the problem. Crikey, you've been a busy lot to say it's lunchtime. Jesus. Let's have a look. My fluid bed overflow and some my fluid bed overflowed and some K1 out of the chamber and into the ground. Do you recommend doing bleach to clean it? No, if it's just organic debris on it, Jay, just rinse it off and chuck it back in, mate. You probably risk more getting bleach on it than a bit of shit off at floor. Aricky, pond build like your grow on ponds with the flow from one end like yours. Would it be best to have 2 bottom drains at the far end away from the inlet, please, or in the middle? Yeah, still go in the middle. Absolutely best way, because obviously the flow is graduating as it goes along. So at that point, you're relying on making sure you push it all to the other end rather than splitting it up. What you all gone for then?
Classic. Good bandy.
Jesus.
Shouldn't have you want to do it.
Proper diet here. I've done well to resist it. Would you agree treatments can be affected by the likes of showers and drum filters? No, Terry. I think there's more to it than that. I don't think a lot of people are getting dosages right. Showers are not helpful because the degassing can break stuff down. Yes, drum filters stripping it all out, I think, is a load of cosh. If that was the case, think about it. You put clay in your pond as you would, and none of the clay would make it through the drum filter. These things tend to be a lot finer than that. You'd literally watch it pass through, get flushed out, and not make it through bio and into circulation, and it still does. Afternoon, as mentioned with PP, it would be interesting to clear up something that I hear a lot, and that's when it's gone brown. That's when it hits trick. Also, I need Takano Sankey coming. Yeah, we can look at some Takano Sankey, Adam. Actually, I got some out. Ooh, I can't remember where I put them now, but I did pull some pieces out the other day after the event. It's some I had growing in the pond, so they'll be coming through the WhatsApp group soon enough when we get round to it. Yeah, there can be a bit of the manganese dioxide that comes after PP can play its part in the eradication of trick. I did read that many years ago. Don't know how true it actually is, but I did read it from a koi health professional, and I actually mean a professional, not some amateur who calls himself a professional. Ricky, have you ever seen the study that states around 20, 30 years ago where PP, the pond for 7 continuous days splits the flukes? Yeah, I'm not even sure. It might have been that long ago, actually. That was in Koi Health and Disease by Dr. Eric Johnson. It's actually a regime that I've used with clients for fixing bacterial problems, but it's very aggressive, and you've got to be on the ball of knowing whether it's right or not to go for the second treatment. What you also have to remember is levels of manganese in the water will elevate massively during that, and you've got to be super careful because it's only short-term exposure. It shouldn't be bad, but it's something you certainly want to address afterwards. And honestly, anytime I've used it with anybody, I've been getting video updates constantly and had full sign-off before another dose has gone in, just so it's not been overdone. Question there about the fluke X. Like I just said earlier, it's not something I've used yet. Seen that used, works well. Go on, that's not for me. How long after treating for fluke would you treat for Costia? If you've got them both to begin with, I'd treat for Costia before fluke. But if you only want to be treating for it afterwards, if you actually identify it, I wouldn't just go chucking shit in there willy-nilly. Oh, Brett's great. Found Costia, White Spot, and Flukes. The below is what I recommended to clear them. Oh, God. So I'm going to just read that bit out. Day 1, PP. Day 3, FMG. Day 6, FMG. Day 9, FMG. What the fuck? Day 14, Fluke X. Day 2. Oh, my fucking days. Yeah, interesting one, that, Brett. First of all, when I see that list, Flukes is the least of my concerns. White Spot would be top of the list. Costia would be top of the list. So what I would generally do there, I mean, you're not too far out. The PP was a waste of time to begin with. I'd have gone straight in with with FMC 50 from Colombo. The three treatments of FMG I tend to find is because they're just simply not effective up front enough. Colombo treatments are bridging the gap somewhere between. I'll leave it out, Cole. Sure. Yeah, I'll slurp it down in a minute. Somewhere between the kind of amateur level and where you'd want a pro level treatment. The formaldehyde's a lot stronger in it. I tend to find anytime I've come across White Spot used FMC 50, it's been a one hit wonder. And yeah, White Spot is your most aggressive and your Costia there, but being formalin and malachite based, that one treatment alone should work against the White Spot and the Costia. So after about 4 to 5 days on that one, I would be re-scraping to make sure that it's been eradicated, and actually making sure at that point the flukes are still present, because formaldehyde, when it's strong enough, can kill flukes. More so when it's on its own, but there's just a chance it might have happened. And this is what you need to be doing. You need to step it out and assess it at each part of the thing, rather than going through what's that 20-day program there that might just not be necessary at the end of it. So I would have gone FMC 50, Bosch. You might have found that in 4 or 5 days that's all sorted, and then you just treat your flukes accordingly after that with your treatment of choice. And then a few, 3-4 days after your fluke treatment, again, scrape and see if everything's cleared up. You could have chose potassium after that to maybe attack the flukes. That would have been your choice. But I think PP up front just causes you to lose 3 days there, because White Spot will swim around in potassium completely untouched. IR water changes and reduce feeding. Sorry, Roy. Not quite sure what we're on about there, pal. Treatment regimes always take into account temperature. Certainly with the fluke ones, it would seem that in Japan they're massively using stronger doses of fluke treatments in cooler water, because it's just generally not as kind of soluble at that point. So they're seeming to hit it with more because it takes longer and it's harder to get it through to where it needs to go. I've quiet. 3 to 6 degrees in Australian winters. Someone's going to have to educate me there. Is that supposed to say 36? I didn't think it ever got cold in Australia, but I think someone's probably about to school me. Eating fine, looking good. Any negative long-term effects on them? No one heats here. Just clear that up for me, buddy, if that's supposed to say 36. I actually have. I've opened it today. He really is after something, isn't he? He really is after something. Adrian, not sure what you've missed, mate. We had the event last weekend. I think everybody was in the group, but feel free to reach out to me by DM, pal, and we've got everything. I think the guys did share some videos in the group. Are water changes and reduced feeding the best for a nitrite spike, or is there anything else you'd recommend? It depends on what the nitrite spike is, Roy, and if you can explain it or not. I'm not one to just jump on water changes. How high is it? How bad's it got? Can you explain it? Have you gone chucking twice the amount of food in and a few days later it's crept up? Because that would explain it. If it's warm enough, and it's not too high, I generally be wanting to wait it out to see if the system adapts to whatever has changed. If it's just randomly come out of nowhere, then you want to be digging a bit deeper. And if it's a really high spike, then yeah, I'd be a bit more reactive in maybe trying to want to reduce that. Not too reactive though. Going and dumping a load of fresh water in, depending on how good your water is, might actually further add to your problems. Belly loss, it can happen. It's one of the main things, I've kind of set out from day one of raising fish, of learning to predict is how likely that might be, because, ultimately from tow sight and this site, it's the worst, the bit more unpredictable as well. And it's when you want to try and study it, obviously, when they're the smallest. And there are tells and things that you can read, but it is common, unfortunately. Just because it's a Dietary Kohaku 3 years old, it means nothing. Maybe the colour condition wasn't there. Maybe it's just been a slow process of it pulling apart, depending on how quickly it's been raised as to that happening. But it's something you can read. It's not super predictable. Stress-related factors can play a part in more spontaneous colour combustion as well. So, but it is something you just have to learn to accept along the way. Been watching your vlogs on PP, dosing according to the bottle. Right, well, by you saying bottle concerns me a little bit. Packet, I only use PP in powdered form. But still, regardless, there we go. You've increased your dosage, and away we go. Yeah, fantastic. Let's say we will get stuck more into that one, but it's still going to be hard for me to say too much around dosing. But let's see how I'm feeling at the time. Oh, that's a conversation going on with Brett. What are the grow-on series of Tosai you'll be filming next? Any chance you have some of them? No, I don't have any of the new line, Kohaku and Sankey. Yes, I've heard the Growing Monsters. I've seen it. What I did see, however, I think I mentioned this. So I was there at the auction of the first batch of these in December, and seeing them up close, there wasn't all that, other than the size of them, too much to be impressed about. I think it's still very, very much in its infancy as a bloodline. There was a lot of scale line issues, secondary Benny issues, and things that I could see, and I just wasn't blown away. The really good fish in particular, looking at fin damages, bits of misshapen. No doubt the guys will get it there, but obviously at some point they'll have been investing in this for years and they need to start recouping from it. But yeah, not one for me yet. I think I'm more interested in seeing what we can do with the RS bloodline than somebody else's. Better than daytime today. How's your first? Yeah, so I mentioned it last night. I've had a report from Makoto say they're actually growing quicker than expected, because he's mentioned about me pulling my trip forward. So that's all very, very good signs. And I await a video from one of the staff. I told him he needs to send me one every week. So I might just need a gentle reminder. It's literally week today that I've been back. What we got here? Is this? Oh, what have I missed? What have I missed? There we go. Also built 1500 grow on for Tosai Go Sankey. Plans heat to 24, 18 in winter and spring autumn, decrease gradually between the two. Is this optimal ideal? Yes. What ratio of color growth Saki Ikari for each season is best? I mean, if you want to just go like consistently, you could go like 75-25. You're not going to need it too intense for a batch of Go Sankey like that. Winter. Yeah, winter's obviously difficult because the UV index changes a lot and there's not a lot there to help support the colour. So it might be worth a bit more, although UV is still a catalyst in the kind of colour production procedure as well. It's just not it's not always effective, Terry, and formalin is one of them as well around dosing. And it really is one that if you get it wrong with formalin, as with PP, it's naughty. So if we're talking formalin, PP as a choice, I'm going to go with PP, because ultimately as well, what formaldehyde do is really knock your filter system out. PP can knock it back, but then actually in the case of K1 and fluid beds, bring it back stronger. But in this instance, yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons why it's not a go-to. Appreciate that, Chris. I think we are getting that it's... Is it that warm? I still don't know, buddy. Still don't know. Oh, 3 to 6 degrees Celsius it is. I never knew it got that cold in Australia. Yeah, that's no different to over here. So yeah, they'll be absolutely fine. Just don't let it go. 3-4 is kind of like that minimum drop. When you plummet below that, it can really get a bit tricky. What we got there? I'll tell you what, guys, just let's put a pause on the questions because I'm going to get to the bottom of where we're at, and I'm going to wrap it up because I do have work to do. Oh, sorry, just reading what Craig said. Craig, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, mate. So let's wait and see. I reckon I have a Chagoi with very heavy slime coat. So I'm just going to let me just put Craig's up on there because one thing I'd seen weirdly, there's a really good the Nishikigoi manual, I think is, or something like that, book in Japan. And there was one in NND's office, and I've got a copy. I've just not read it for a long time. And there was a dosage in there for PP, and they was classifying it as a bath treatment. But to them, that's medicating the pond. But they're working on the basis of neutralizing it, so bathing for a certain time. And weirdly, the dosage they stated in there was almost to a T what I've come to my own conclusion and been using here, which I found interesting. And so too was the exposure time. And with that being documented like that, I thought, fair enough. At very least, I can probably pull the book up and blame the book. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get stuck right into it, Craig. I reckon I have a Chagoi with very heavy slime coat. Done a double dose of FMG for a couple of Costia found on a... I hope double dose. Are we saying 2 treatments next to each other or doubling up at the same time? Because that's a bit lively. The slime coat remains. All parameters are spot on. Would PP help? Yeah, I might just need some time to stop medicating and going with a more gentler touch, like some salt might help. But let's not forget, sometimes a koi can just throw a bit of mucus. It can be absolutely normal, just like one of us can get a bit of something, or a bit of this go wrong, or a little rash come up, or whatever it is. They can do that. Sometimes it might even be just best left alone. If there's been a bit of Costia, yeah, that might have been what's caused it, a bit of a reaction. It might just need some time for it to go back rather than you physically trying to remove it by bombarding it with treatment. Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm going to put a blanket ban on food questions again at the moment. Guys, I don't pass comment on stuff that I don't use. So that's that. I did actually share my thoughts again on food last night. I used sake akari. I firmly believe there's not anything to touch it. I can't see anything from such a small company that they would have that Ikari wouldn't in order to make that product any better than what it is. It's just the cost bit. I do get that entirely. But even that aside, I'm still not going to sit here and start recommending and saying stuff and spouting off about stuff I don't use. It's not who I am. It's not what I do. I'm not trying to sell out. I say what I know. I know sake akari is the best. I think most people know, even those who's used it and looking at elsewhere, they're doing it for valid reasons around price and stuff like that. I get it. Don't fully always agree with it because I think there's I forget the word now. It's evading me. A false economy to it a little bit, and even in tests and stuff that people are doing, I think they've been too premature to even pass any comment on it. And there's a lot more to it than just waste output and growth. I question whether people testing it are qualified enough to assess the true impact on body form, coloration, and stuff beyond that as well. That's my speech on it. And it's just another one. In my opinion, it's another one doing the rounds. It might stick. There's a lot of other good foods out there, though. It's the buzz one at the moment, but then you forget, the likes of Takazumi. That's a good solid food that's been around for absolutely yonks, and it really has. It's a food that's in the realms of foods like that. That's the space that it's competing in. Anyone that says otherwise is full of shit and really don't know what they're on about. That I will stand by. So yeah, I think in regards to that, you're probably best going to be going to the wider community, as people who are trying it, to see how they're getting on. But I still stand by where I'm at with the food. There we go. I think I got to the bottom of that one. Oh, there we go. Oh, no, he's telling me. Sorry, sir. I thought what I thought I was reading there, Satch, was if you've got time for this, that you have time to do a quiz on Sunday, seeing as though I'm putting extra effort in, and you're just fucking slacking, blaming this new job, mate. Honestly, it's appalling. Absolutely appalling. He's going to get his access revoked soon, I think. Brilliant. There we go, folks. I'm going to go and nail me ice cream and get some more work done. But stay tuned on the Koi Online WhatsApp group, because over the next few days, I've got an absolute bombardment of stuff coming, and possibly even some super deals over the weekend. So there is a link below. If you're not in there already, hit it. I'll get you in. But that's going to start probably this evening and then continue for the next few days. So there we go. I think that's been quite cool, actually. I think we're about 110 people around peak there, which is pretty awesome. And obviously this stays on the channel afterwards for everyone. So might have to look if this is going to be a staple, getting us a nice thumbnail done up for it. There we go. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks, and hopefully I'll see you on our WhatsApp.